Well, I'm joined by Clare Barber, Douglas East MHK. We're talking about the situation that's going on with transmission or whatever is going on in the community with the COVID. I mean, we had this situation yesterday, and we're recording this on, what day we are now, Thursday?
Yep.
The day of the press conference. But Wednesday night, it was all going on. In fact, all day Wednesday, I was getting reports. I know you were getting reports, and you're quite close to the hospital, but I know you're talking as Douglas East on this particular occasion. What's your concerns?
So my concerns is around the use of the wording community transmission. So the press releases state that there is no community transmission. That's now been expanded to say there's no community transmission as defined by the World Health Organization. What I would say is that there is transmission in the community, and I'm not saying that to spread fear, but I think it's absolutely imperative that we spread fact. So when people are asking that question, is there community transmission? That's because then people can then inform their own behaviours. What's happening at the minute is there's a huge amount of speculation, there's a huge amount of fear, and actually we need to be very clear on the information that's provided, and that is to say that yes, there has been transmission in the community. However, it doesn't meet the definition of community transmission as defined by the World Health Organization, which, as I say, is quite a broad definition where you can't identify the source. So, I mean, I would say that actually we have had very little community transmission at all in COVID, if that's the criteria you're using. But obviously we would all understand that actually there was quite a large amount of transmission in the community in the previous phase of COVID on the island.
The one question I will probably be the first to get that question out today will be, were these people overseas, off the Isle of Man in the last 2 weeks, basically, isn't it? I mean, these people, if they weren't off the island at all, it was transmitted here on the island. Now, by all definitions, that means it's in the community. But another person wrote to me said it's like a lawyer haggling over the small print of a claim almost. Like, it's not, but it is, but we can't call it that.
And that's the concern for me, because until I went and found the World Health Organization definitions last night, I had assumed that community transmission meant that someone in the community had passed it to someone else in the community, and that second person had not had any history of off-island travel. That's the case we find ourselves in now. So that is confirmed in the press release, interestingly, but yet there's still this fiddling with words, which makes me incredibly uncomfortable. As a nurse, one of the things we absolutely are told is that you must be absolutely upfront with people.
Why is a government getting themselves in such... I mean, I put out a tweet about 7 o'clock last night, because my inbox was going crazy, and they were all starting to add up, so I thought, okay, let's just put that out, and on the basis it is not confirmed. But we then get a press release at 7:15 last night to say exactly what had gone on. This sounds like something's going on in there, to be running that late at night, to not get issued at 4 o'clock or whatever. I mean, what do you think?
Well, I'm equally uncomfortable, and that's, as I say, and it's not about spreading fear. What I'm absolutely clear on is that the track and trace process has worked here, and actually this is a good news story from my mind. Sure. There is cases. I'm not, from everything that I'm seeing, and that's not stuff that I'm getting officially, because everything I'm being told is stuff that I'm being told directly from people who are involved in the situation.
You're getting what I'm getting, no doubt, and everybody else is hearing things, but you don't want to go too high up on this and release things.
Yeah, but I'm not going to give information about the people. That's absolutely not right. It's not appropriate, and neither should the government do that. But what we can very confidently say, I believe, is that yes, there is transmission. There has been transmission within the community, and therefore people should be able to make the right decisions for themselves. As I say, from everything I can see, track and trace has worked right. We've got the details of the people. There's the appropriate swabbing that's going on. Everyone who we're talking to appears to have behaved in an appropriate manner. They've isolated themselves when told to. There's no question around that. So there's nothing to say, oh, someone's been grossly irresponsible. And I think actually by sharing the right facts, we can then provide the confidence the public need, but they can make the right decisions for themselves, knowing their own health position.
You and me both went to Guernsey, and we had a chance to speak to the people who were running the operation down there. It seemed to me when they had it in the community, they went straight, held their hands up almost, or whatever you want to call it, and informed the public, basically. Yeah. Do you think there's a mindset here that's going wrong, that somehow it's not the same here? I don't want to put words in your mouth. But
yeah, I mean, I'm not privy to the discussions that have taken place around this. The first I heard was phone calls from members of the public who were directly affected by the current situation. I've not been given anything formal. It worries me that, from my understanding of this, the people who had the test got their results on Tuesday, and yet it took till Wednesday evening for this to be made public.
Roll back that one. Tuesday. They knew they had it.
Yes.
But we had a Wednesday and nothing goes on as such all day long, and Thursday, and well, we're here Thursday now, but so again, are you going to be able to find this information out? Why we're not being told? And I say we, the public, are not being informed.
And
of these things.
that's what I want to. That needs to be the outcome from this. You know, this is not, for me, as I say, it's not about saying that there's blame to be laid on anyone in the community. Actually, everyone, I believe, has behaved impeccably. You know, there's been a very small number of people who've broken the rules throughout the whole of this period, and they have been appropriately dealt with, and I think that's very important. You know, we can't afford people to misbehave in terms of self-isolation rules. Those are fundamental. However, what I do think we can see is that we're not giving the public the opportunity to behave in those responsible ways because they're not given the information, and that is so fundamental to everything.
Risk awareness here.
Awareness. If you were going out,
I went into a shop this morning and I did my hands with the sanitizer, which I hadn't done. Yeah. But today I thought, I think I need to make that step myself back up to a level. Is that the sort of thing you're talking about here?
Lots of people have talked about, you know, we've become complacent. I put my hands up as well, you know. From my perspective, we should absolutely now be really upping the game again on hand washing, on using hand gel, on using surface wipes, really thinking about what we're doing. We can't do that if we're being told there's no community transmission. Now, so if I scroll back, community transmission as defined by the World Health Organization, for me, is ensuring that the data set being gathered by every government around the world is comparable so that we can genuinely look at statistics. Statistics are fundamentally necessary to make sure everyone's measuring the same thing. So that's fine. From statistical analysis, community transmission is whatever World Health Organization says it is. But when we're talking to people who live on the Isle of Man, community transmission, if I went and asked 100 people on the street what they thought that meant, I don't believe anyone would come up with the World Health Organization definition. And therefore we should be very, very clear that community transmission as defined by the World Health Organization, no, that's not what we've got. Transmission in the community, as you or I or any man or woman in the street would understand, yes, that is what we've got. And that's the problem for me here.
We all know today Howard Quare will have this speech that's written by whoever, and it'll deal with this, and that we didn't want to panic the government. I can just hear it already. And then David Ashford will come in and answer every question that the press put to him, and it'll spin it out fantastically that we were right and there's nothing to worry about. But we should, do you think, really look how we're dealing with this to the people of the Isle of Man?
Yes, because, and I repeat it again,
I know, but
it's not about panicking people. It's about giving people the information that allows them to make informed decisions. Yeah. You know, everything that we do should be about making sure people are fully informed. So if people are due to go to a big event and they know they have health issues, they can then think, actually, for me, that might not be right. Equally, someone who's fit and well can carry on about their business, but people are able to make that decision. If you're not in possession of the information, you can't make an informed decision.
Finally, then, is there a credibility issue here that the government here is compared with Guernsey, because that's all we can do, because they've had it and dealt with it? Is there a credibility issue that they've got to really, really approach now to inform people then?
From my perspective, I am very concerned about how this has been communicated. I'll be very interested to see how this plays out during the day. But as I say, I think it is a great disservice to the Isle of Man public that it has not been delivered the information in a more candid and open way.